When we look at the ocean, we usually see only its surface, waves reflecting sunlight, calm blue water stretching toward the horizon, ships passing silently, beaches filled with life. But this familiar surface hides a truth that is both fascinating and unsettling. The world's oceans are so underexplored that if you were to dive deeper than about 3,500 meters, there's a real chance you could discover a species completely unknown to science. At the same time, there's also a chance you might encounter something far less inspiring: human debris and garbage, even in places where sunlight has never reached. Oceans cover more than 70% of Earth's surface, making them the largest habitat on the planet. Yet, despite their size, they remain one of the least understood places we know. The average depth of the oceans is about 3.7 kilometers, and because sunlight can only penetrate the top 100 meters of water, darkness dominates almost everything beneath. If we push this idea a step further, an astonishing realization emerges. Since most of the planet is covered by water, it means that most of Earth exists in total darkness. Almost 96% of all the water on Earth is contained in the oceans. The amount of fresh water compared to seawater is so small that if all the fresh water flowing into the oceans were spread evenly across their surface, it would form a layer only about 1.25 meters thick. Even more surprising is that around 94% of all life on Earth lives in water. That means those of us who live on land belong to a very small minority. We tend to think of Earth as a land planet because that's where we live, but from the perspective of life itself, Earth is overwhelmingly a water world. So what mysteries lurk in the depths of the oceans? The deeper we go, the more curious and unfamiliar everything becomes. It often feels as though we know more about the surface of Mars than about the ocean floor of our own planet. We have detailed maps of distant planets, yet vast areas of our seabed remain unexplored, unseen by human eyes. What is happening in the deepest places on Earth? For centuries, we simply didn't know. A lack of light, crushing pressure, freezing temperatures, and immense distances make the deep ocean one of the most difficult environments to explore. But today, technology allows us to push farther than ever before. So imagine that we are about to begin a journey straight down into the ocean's depths. We're going to explore what lies below, layer by layer. We're going to see what the bottom of the ocean looks like, what it's made of, and what kind of life manages to survive in places that seem completely inhospitable. No one can be sure what we'll find. The deeper we descend, the more alien the conditions become. This is not just a dive, it's a journey into another world. Our imaginary submersible begins its descent, slipping beneath the waves. The first stop comes quickly, at about 40 meters. This might not sound deep, but it represents a critical limit for human physiology. 40 meters is the maximum depth that traditional pearl divers can reach without any scuba equipment, relying only on their breath. Below this point, the increasing pressure of the water forces air to escape from the lungs, making it impossible to dive deeper safely without specialized gear. This is why 40 meters is often considered the upper limit for breath-hold diving. Recreational scuba divers can go deeper, but even they face strict limits. As we descend past this point, the water pressure increases rapidly, squeezing everything it touches. At around 200 meters, we reach one of the most important layers of the ocean. About 90% of all aquatic life exists within the upper 200 meters, because this is where sunlight, though weakened, still manages to penetrate. This light allows phytoplankton to grow, and these microscopic organisms form the foundation of the ocean's food web. Their vast biomass feeds small crustaceans, which are then eaten by fish, which in turn support larger predators and marine mammals like dolphins and whales. This layer of the ocean is vibrant, busy, and full of life. Schools of fish move through the water, predators hunt, and the entire system is powered by energy from the sun. But as our submersible continues downward, the light fades quickly. Colors begin to disappear.
Reds vanish first, then oranges and yellows, until everything takes on shades of blue and gray. Life becomes less abundant. We are entering what scientists call the twilight zone. At around 332 meters, we pass the deepest point ever reached by a scuba diver using conventional equipment. Beyond this depth, humans cannot survive without specially designed submersibles or bath escapes. At 565 meters, we reach the maximum recorded diving depth of an emperor penguin, one of the deepest diving birds on Earth. Photosynthesis is almost non-existent here. There is not enough light to support plant life, so there is no vegetation. Still, a surprising number of fish inhabit this zone, though life here is far from easy. Many animals pass through this region not because it is ideal, but because it offers some protection from predators that prefer shallower waters. Survival often means constantly moving, constantly adapting. As we descend to 1,000 meters, we reach the end of the twilight zone. Less than 1% of sunlight reaches this depth. The ocean here is dim, cold, and silent, yet life persists. Many organisms in this zone have evolved the ability to produce their own light through bioluminescence, a chemical reaction that emits light without heat. These glowing displays are used to attract prey, deter predators, or communicate in the darkness. Strange, glowing creatures drift past our submersible, flashing briefly before vanishing again. Among them are siphonophores, close relatives of jellyfish that live as colonies rather than individual animals. Each colony is made up of thousands of specialized units, all clustered around a long tube that serves as a shared digestive system. To the human eye, they look like something out of science fiction. As we go deeper still, life becomes increasingly bizarre. At around 1,027 meters, we pass the record depth of a military submarine dive. Beyond this point lies the midnight zone, where total darkness reigns. No sunlight reaches here at all. Food is extremely scarce, and life must conserve energy at all costs. Most animals do not actively hunt. Instead, they drift slowly through the water, collecting sea snow, tiny particles of organic material that fall from the upper layers of the ocean. Sea snow is made up of dead fish remains, plant fragments, feces, dust, and sand. It may not sound appetizing, but in the deep ocean, it's a vital source of nutrition. At about 2,200 meters, we reach depths visited by some of the ocean's most remarkable creatures. Giant octopuses descend to these depths, their flexible bodies perfectly adapted to the crushing pressure. Sperm whales, the largest toothed predators on Earth, also dive this deep in search of giant squid. These encounters sometimes lead to violent battles in the darkness, leaving scars on both predator and prey. This is also the realm of the anglerfish, famous for the glowing lure that dangles from its head. That eerie light is produced by symbiotic bacteria within the fish. To unsuspecting prey, the glow looks like an easy meal. In reality, it's a deadly trap. As we descend even further, the depth gauge passes 6,100 meters. At this depth, transcontinental internet cables lie quietly on the ocean floor, stretching across vast distances to connect continents. More than 90% of the ocean is about 6,000 meters deep, and this depth is often considered the ocean's conditional bottom. But the ocean floor is far from flat. In certain places, it plunges dramatically into deep trenches, sinking far below the average depth. One of the most famous of these places is the Mariana Trench. The Mariana Trench lies at the boundary between two massive tectonic plates, the Pacific Plate and the Philippine Plate. It was formed by a process called subduction, in which one plate is forced beneath another. Contrary to popular belief, the Mariana Trench is not a simple hole in the seabed. It's a vast geological formation stretching about 2,542 kilometers, more than 5 times the length of the Grand Canyon in the United States. Despite its length, it's relatively narrow, averaging about 70 kilometers wide. Within this enormous trench lie several of the deepest places in the ocean, many of them more than 10,000 meters deep. The most famous of these is the Challenger Deep, located in the southwestern part of the trench, about 340 kilometers from the island of Guam. Depending on the method used, its maximum depth has been measured between 10,028 and 11,034 meters below sea level. Nearby lies the Sirena Deep, the second deepest known point in the ocean, with a maximum depth of about 10,809 meters. Interestingly, despite its extreme depth, the Challenger Deep is not the closest place on Earth to the planet's center. Earth is not a perfect sphere. It bulges slightly at the equator. Because of this, the Arctic Ocean seabed is actually closer to Earth's center than the bottom of the Challenger Deep.